more, we try to control the amount of time in front of the television, how many game time, all of this.
That ship sailed.
It's always been a losing battle. And every year you come up with some brand new way of doing it or trying it, and it's always a flop. But the fact when we found out, well, first of all, so they were out since March instead of June, because normally it's a summer vacation issue for the most part. So we can handle that for like 6 weeks. But then we found out in California, the kids aren't going back to school. And then we're like, oh boy, we need to figure this out quick. So we talked about, again, monitoring the TV and this and that, and then it just never works. And we started thinking, we had just gotten these Apple Watches, and they've got those activity rings. So we thought, what about instead of monitoring the video games and the TV time, which we don't totally care about, what we care about is his activity level. So instead of monitoring how long you're in front of the television, let's start monitoring that activity level.
Time to hit the gym, better do it smart. Get your own coach, there where you are. Start the day right, there in your home. With the smartest gym in the world, ready, set, go. Smart panel, smart bar, smart training, there you are. Customize, make it right, AI, form advice. Superset will show you what it's all about. It's a total workout.
Welcome to the Superset Podcast, Episode 8. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe. So very exciting stuff this week as you got your shelf from Julius.
I did. And I installed it myself.
Well, hang on.
What?
I stood there and held a drill for you.
You did. And it got a little hairy. I'm not going to lie. I might have made more holes than necessary and got desperate.
Here's my rule of thumb. And I learned this trying to hang pictures of like the posters you see around the room. If people watching on the YouTube, if whatever you're hanging in that spot covers any additional holes that you made in the process, doesn't count. So
then it doesn't count.
It doesn't count. Like some of these might have 2 or 3 holes to get them level, but when I hang the poster, you can't see so nobody there until just now.
No one knew.
They were none the wiser.
Well, here's the thing. I was going to give you credit for the fact that I got really desperate in the middle of this, and
so desperate she asked me to help.
Not only that, but I asked him to help because I tried putting a nail in instead of a screw because I couldn't get it to actually set in the stud. I found the studs, so hey, credit for that.
Yeah, you did.
The ones beside you, Tom.
Oh, sorry.
And then I could not utilize the drill to make the screw go in, so I got desperate. I tried putting a nail in, which failed, and then you helped me by removing the nail.
I helped you get the nail out because you were struggling getting it was in there pretty, and it was in a weird spot where as you were trying to pull it out, it was like at some point it's going to give and you're just going to punch yourself right in the face, which is why she gave that task to me.
Yes.
So thank you, Julius.
It's not Julius's fault. I need to make it very clear that this is user error, and I know that it is because Tom and I both suck at doing anything mechanical. Anything.
Yeah, so the fact that it's up at all and both of us were involved says that for the average human specimen,
you're not going to have a problem.
You're not going to have a problem.
Yeah, this is all me having an issue. So it looks beautiful, though. I love it.
It's cool looking. I will give him that.
And I really like how nicely everything sits up there now. Just looks so pretty.
Totally. So
thank you, Julius, for real.
And what do you have in store for people this week?
Well, we're going to talk about a new milestone that the official Tonal community hit. Actually, a couple of them. And then we're going to talk about new features, new content, and some stuff going on with the instructors.
Awesome. Well, before we get to all that, shameless plugs, don't forget we are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, you can find us.
We'll be there.
We are there. Just be sure and subscribe while you're there so you never miss an episode.
Don't forget you can watch watch us on YouTube.
You can watch us on YouTube. It's on youtube.com/theclipout, which is the name of our other podcast, but we put all our videos on one channel because we're lazy.
There's a separate playlist for the superset, though.
That's because she does that. She's the non-lazy one. And but you can find them all there. And of course, you can check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/superset podcast. So you can stay up to date on breaking tonal news in between episodes. So there's all of that. Let's dig in, shall we?
We shall.
Not one, but two major milestones this week in the world of tonal.
Tonal community is growing.
They hit 6,000 members in the Tonal Facebook group.
It was just like the last episode. We were like, oh, we hit 5,000 members.
Yeah.
Boom. 6,000. Just a blink.
And I think I like this statistic even better.
I do too. It's very exciting. 3 billion pounds have been lifted by the entire tonal community together. That's amazing.
That's a really cool stat.
I love that. So cool.
Yeah.
Congrats to the entire community. Billion. Wow.
With a B.
Yeah. Pretty sure Sumner Payne has like 4 million of that all on his own. He's like 1 billion.
Half of that is him. Yeah. There's a new way to share your tonal achievements.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. So I love all these things that they do to the app. And this is another really cool one. So if you have volume stats and you want to show them off, maybe a workout for like the entire week, year, maybe a month, etc., you can do that. All you have to do is go to your Tonal mobile app, pull up the home screen, click into the total volume block or the total workout block, and then you just click on the share icon. Boom. You're done. That's it.
Awesome.
And it's really cool. It's really neat looking. I love the ability to show different things. You know, I like to keep my content fresh. So thanks, Tonal.
Quick update on the Show Us Your Moves contest that Tonal was doing.
Yeah, they chose 3 winners at random. Ashley Maury Drago, Deborah Kerner Allison, and Ryan Heath Check. Ryan Heath. Also, the 3 of them were supposed to check their DMs.
Damn you, cut and paste.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. But they were supposed to check their DMs because they get to schedule a one-on-one personal training session with any of the instructors.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I'm sure we will see many more contests like that moving forward.
Totally.
That's my guess. I don't know that. I'm literally guessing, but I feel like I'm guessing right.
Look who's talking about tonal.
So Coach Liz popped up on a podcast this week.
She did. It's called The Space by... I think it's supposed to be pronounced 7, but
okay.
It's spelled SVN. Space podcast, and it's episode 22, and it talks about fight, flight, or freeze, how to turn off your stress response. So Spin Space sat down for a chat with Liz Letchford, and obviously everybody in the community I think knows that she's a PhD, also an athletic trainer, and she is a creator of The Release, also an injury prevention specialist. So she kind of has all this amazing knowledge going into this conversation, and she teaches everyone how to identify where the stress is coming from, how it's manifesting in our bodies, and most importantly, how to turn it off and get your mind and body feeling good again.
Yeah, because if you can't turn all that off, then what difference does it make?
Yeah, knowing where it comes from or that it exists is not helpful if you don't know how to turn it off.
I feel like ass. Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, don't know what I'd do without you. But so, yeah, you really need that last part of the equation.
Yeah, so make sure you check that out.
And then Coach Nicolette's got a little side project she's working on.
She does. As you know, she is a personal trainer and keeps up her personal training aspects while she's also doing tonal. But I thought this was really cool. She's doing a virtual class announcement. She's going to be teaching every week through a new video platform called Recess. And so you can go in, check out her schedule, and book classes. And she's going to do some really cool stuff. She's going to be helping people with all kinds kinds of different things, different ways that they want to do it. So this cracks me up. She says, I promise to bring you an experience like no other group class. For one, I'm funny as hell. 2, I will always integrate my vast strength programming knowledge and postural health education and experience. And 3, my playlist rule.
So is this something with a name like Recess, is it like affiliated with schools? Like I know a lot of the kids learning from home, like they have like some sort of like socially distanced gym class for them now.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe that's where it started. Either way, I think it's a really cool, but I didn't check in to like see, hey, what is this app all about? How did this start? I don't know if it's that or if it has something to do with just in general group learning. But the kind of classes she's teaching, full body Tabata with weights. So it's body weight variations provided for people who might have, different needs for things that they can do. And core burn and posture reboot classes. So all of those sound great and different than just the typical things that you see out there. I really like that. So I don't know. I'll have to dig into Recess and see what that's all about. Maybe for next time.
So since last episode, there was a new Tonal Talk. There
was, yeah. There was one with legendary Mark Allen, all about his amazing triathlete accomplishments, as well as being a guest instructor on Tonal with those 2 new programs that just came out. And so that's really cool. And everybody who has not had a chance to listen to that definitely needs to, or to watch it. You can watch it on YouTube or you can watch it on the official Tonal community.
Awesome.
And then another really cool one, they had a lab that was how to recover like a pro with Therabody. So, Therabody's been teaming up with Tonal. There's a percent, I think it's like a 20% discount. Maybe it's only 10. Don't shoot me if I got that wrong. But so you can get like a Theragun product if you don't have one already, but it taught you how to use a percussive instrument to recover, like an optimal way to do that. So
and you don't have a Theragun, but you have a percussive puncher machine. What are they called?
A percussive recovery instrument.
It's what I said.
Yeah.
And you dig it.
I do. I was too sore after my recent self-imposed marathon on my tread, so I did not use it after that. A normal person with a normal amount of work would have done that, and it would have been great, but my injuries were too severe. You have to know when it's okay to use and when it's not okay to use,
which is, I'm sure, something the Tonal Talk will kind of walk you through.
Absolutely.
And then if you want to catch them live, there are some upcoming Tonal Talks.
Yeah, there's upcoming Ask Coach Liz on August 27th, 4 p.m. Eastern. So you'll be able to submit questions ahead of time and ask her anything. Remember, she's a PhD, so not only is she really, really have lots of information about all of the physical fitness aspect, but she also can tell you on a kind of medical version of that. Like, I don't mean she's a medical doctor, but she adds another layer of knowledge. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as always with the Ask Coach series, don't make it weird.
Yeah.
Just like we just like to always remind people. Don't make it weird.
Definitely. There's also a really cool Tonal Talk coming up on September 2nd with Coach Allison that we recently interviewed. Mm-hmm. And she's going to be going over radical self-care. So it'll be, how to really put yourself first, I'm sure, because that's all about the radical piece of it. And I'm really curious to hear what kind of tips she has. I think this will be a really good one, especially in the times of COVID. And now we're going back to school on top of this.
Yeah.
Unprecedented insanity in the times that are occurring.
New Tonal content.
And speaking of Mark Allen.
Yeah. So there was a program that started a few weeks ago called Endurance Triathlete. And this one, or Tri Endurance, something like that. But this one is Tri Power. It dropped on August 17th. And it is all about how to work your body effectively while still keeping, like, to increase the power, but not overwork your muscles that you use for your triathlon training, like your swimming and your biking and stuff. So keeping things fresh, but increasing your power at the same time. So it's super exciting. Mark Allen is acting as a guest coach here again. He's acting in conjunction with Coach Kelly. So that's pretty cool. If you haven't gotten to try either of those, definitely give them a try. Especially if you're interested in triathlons or you've been doing triathlons, I think these are very cool options to have.
And it's probably a good way to get started without another major investment, like hiring a swim coach or joining a pool. Like it's a good way to
take a step
get your feet wet without getting your feet wet.
Without the pool.
Yeah.
In some places you can't even get in a pool lately or yet. So
touche.
Yeah. Then there were some other workouts that were released this week. So these are not programs, they're workouts. And there's Recovery Release the Back with Coach Natalie. And then there's a beginner bite, Up Dog and Cobra, learning those different postures with Coach Francis. She breaks those down very well. There's another one, Down Dog, that's coming out with Coach Francis. And so you can try all of those out. Lots of great opportunities.
Checking in with the Tonal community.
So joining us today via the magic of Zoom Tomb is Tess Ramay-Miljkovic. Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Did I get that right?
Close. Milkovic.
God,
I also have this weird, I'm from Wisconsin, so I have this weird accent too that most people can't really understand unless you live there. And even they said I'm a little more UP than I'm supposed to be, so.
Well, my apologies. I guess I added a syllable.
How it sounded.
It also doesn't help that we're also from the Midwest. Wisconsin is Midwest.
Yeah.
So we're in St. Louis, Missouri, and we constantly get names wrong. If you listen to our other podcasts, we're always messing up names.
Yes, and then
especially when we do the news, like we're all over the place. So yeah.
But in the defense of St. Louis, just collectively as a city, we don't know how to pronounce things right. So like there's a big street here. And it's Gravois. So you would think Gravois. No, we call it Gravois.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Like
That's what we do.
Yeah, if you called it Gravois, people would be like, "Well, look at you, fancy pants." Like it's
Right.
And we have everybody has there's a highway here, 44, but St. Louis, we call it Farty Far.
Farty Far.
Oh, nice.
And then there's
Cutting it close to some.
then there's a place called Belfontaine, Bellefontaine, right? Bellefontaine. That's how we say it.
Oh,
Bellefontaine. Like
Yeah.
no.
So we've got a long and rich history.
Yeah. It's in our DNA to mispronounce things.
It is.
So, what are you gonna do?
But we're gonna move along.
Yeah.
Because
she's like, do you need me for this?
Right.
I
This was gonna be my
completely.
interview. Yeah.
Thank you for humoring us.
Absolutely. I'm familiar.
So, okay, Tess, I am so curious how you originally found Tonal.
Tonal came around, as I think many people now, because of COVID. We had never heard of it before. My wife, for about a year and a half prior to that, had done a tremendous job going to the gym every day, 5 a.m. She was feeling good. She had lost a lot of weight for herself. And I was more like, oh, sure, I'll sign up for the gym too. And I go every 2 weeks, every other month. and like that. So
when you get around to it.
Yeah. So it wasn't as much of an investment for me at that time as it was for her. So we started looking for things. And also at that time I was overweight for me, and we had just some events that were coming up. Of course, this is pre-COVID, so now we're talking about vanity here. So I wanted to look good for the summer. There's a couple weddings coming up, some events that she and I wanted to go to that we wanted to look a little better for. So
back when we had events.
Right.
Yeah. So right as I started to join her on this path to really trying to want to be fit, COVID came. So I was looking for a long time, we wanted to get a home gym, but we have a larger home, but it has really crappy storage. So I just don't have a lot of areas to put big things. And then we're like, well, we don't want to give up the gym because I'm still going to have to go to the gym. I can get a bench and do these things and whatever, but I still don't have the treadmill. I don't have this. I don't have that to get that full workout. So we looked into those and we just did not know where to put it. And as COVID at that time started to look like this was not ending, anytime soon. I started to get ads were popping up because, our phones and everything in our home can hear us.
Right.
So she and I are talking about, what we should do and this and that. I'm getting just bombarded by all these advertisements. So I'm seeing this thing for the hydro. I'm seeing all these things for God knows what. And I hate cardio. Like, I can't stand cardio. So I'm like, well, I don't know. I guess we need to get this hydro because I guess I can do this for a lot and I'll do something. So I'm all into the point that I don't have an alternative. So she's like, well, let me look into this a little further. And so we just spent an entire night going through all these cool new things. And she found Tonal online and we started to look at it. And of course, the price was like, how do we justify this? And of course, we can justify anything. But so we thought about it for a couple of days, and it just seemed so amazing. Went on to watch the YouTube videos from people, and I didn't realize it at the time, but the coaches, I was seeing a lot from the coaches. I didn't realize that they were, but they were on there, and it just seemed so awesome. And the way we justified it was I'm spending $65 for a membership at 24 Hour Fitness. I can do it for $50 here. So once I purchased the machine, which we were going to purchase something anyway, I'm sold. I'm now saving $10. Woohoo! So
yeah,
that is exactly the way I justify things.
Right?
And honestly, it's not a justification. I mean, that's a real value, I mean, I know that there's an upfront cost that maybe you don't have at the gym, but long term, there is a value to it. People that don't have this or a Peloton or whatnot, they present it as like, oh, it's this toy for the rich. I'm just going to keep going to the gym. And I'm like, I don't know that you're saving the money you think you are.
Yeah, I mean, mathematically, perhaps somebody can throw it out there. For me, the cost of the dollar changed. It became an emotional thing. So here's the difference. I went to the gym, I kid you not, 30 maybe times a year. Maybe.
And how much is that worth?
All this money. I'm not seeing any results. I don't know what I'm doing. I go when I feel like I just hit that point where I just can't stand myself another day. And then 2 weeks later, I'm like, I'm perfectly fine again. Okay. No results, but trust me, because I don't know what I'm doing there. And I'm definitely not there long enough. But
every trip to the gyms. Every trip to the gym starts with, okay, this time.
Yes, I didn't wake up with a six pack. I didn't wake up with anything that I really wanted out of that, 30 minutes I was there. So for me, it is the investment. And I didn't, of course, in my head, when I'm justifying this, I'm like, oh yeah, I can use this every day. My life is chaotic. I don't have a set schedule every day like some people do. So definitely be able to fit it in. And that was justifying it. Turns out it actually is how I'm able to use it, and I'm doing it. So yeah, it costs us upfront. My monthly payment is a little cheaper upfront, but it's worth the investment. I'm doing something with it. We're all doing it. I have kids that are using it. I mean, I could not put a value on it. It's like invaluable to me.
It's certainly cheaper.
It was just horrible for me.
It's certainly cheaper than like a family membership to a gym.
Oh yeah.
Right. Once you get all into that. And then let's talk about COVID and wherever, depending on where you live, things are working a little differently. But here in California, it's shut down. So our soccer players aren't playing soccer. The basketball is not playing basketball. All those things specifically, I'm thinking the teenagers. And now what? They're just sitting here blobbing, playing video games, doing nothing. No one's outside anymore. It's 103 degrees outside where we are. So it's really provided an outlet for them to get some physical activity, which I do actually have to monitor here and there to make sure that still does get done. But it does, and it's working.
That's fabulous.
So how often do you feel that you use it compared to before? So before, we wouldn't say you were a gym rat. Maybe we'll call you a gym mouse, right? You went sometimes?
A gym, something that's like way in the wilderness that never really sees people, like the mountain lion. Like
a gym hibernating bear?
An animal, it's like so far away from the gym. Like that was me. Still having membership. But
so how much are you using the Tonal now?
I use it, I would say 5 and 6 times a week.
Wow. That's fabulous. Now,
and I've had it since May.
So are you doing just like a program? Do you do one-offs? How do you use the Tonal? Because I feel like everybody uses it a little bit differently.
Yeah, I get that vibe as well. For me, I like the programs. I feel that I have this faith in the coaches that they know what they're doing. So to follow this program, I like to see it. I'm not one of those people that is so focused on my strength score, but I focus on my strength score in the sense that it's working. It's building these things. I like when I start my first week, and the difference towards my third and fourth week are just so different. And I don't know that I could see that as much if I'm constantly doing different things. I also don't know a lot. I mean, back to the gym again, I didn't know how to use the equipment. I didn't know, I see all the people in there seemingly knowing what they're doing, and I was intimidated by that. So I wouldn't use things outside of the gyms we have the circuit, like the 10 machines in a circuit that, so you go from this machine, then next you go to this machine. So it's just these basic moves. And that's all I could do because it's all I felt comfortable enough to do. I didn't know what weight to use. I didn't know when to go up in weights. I also, in my own head, I don't like to burn. I like to feel good. So naturally, right? So I'm like, wait, my heart shouldn't be out of my chest. What's happening right now? But so I am one of those, but here they push you through it. And I like that feeling now. The rest periods, the active recoveries are amazing. So I guess the way that I do it, I am in a program on my rest days. Depending on what it is, if it's lower and upper, I'll go back to back. If there's something that I think is repetitive, I'll throw in. I've come to throwing in actually an ab workout on there. So because I'm still struggling to understand when I'm supposed to use a workout or an active recovery opposed to doing a workout that's not the same, as long as you're not doing the same moves as the day before or the day coming.
Yeah, I don't know what the correct answer is on that, so ask the coaches. I will tell you what I do is on my off days, I tend to do cardio. I know you don't like cardio, but then if like right now I'm getting ready to try to do an entire marathon on my treadmill in a couple of weeks. So I have shifted gears and I'm not doing a program. I'm just doing like one-off workouts, kind of like an in-between. And I know there's some people that they'll do a program and then take like a week off, do some one-off workouts. And then they'll go back to a program. So that might be another option for you. Yeah,
definitely. And you're right. And as far as the cardio and everything, and that's where I started getting into just a little more active. We're on the weekends mostly. So it's not the perfect program, but my wife and I decided, hey, one day on the weekend when she has off, that we do something active, be it bike riding or hiking or anything that is a little more on the cardio side and just a little bit outside of the strength training. So it's not the perfect program, but it works for us. And honestly, I think doing things that you enjoy with, determination and dedication to things that aren't great is a better combination than doing everything by the book, but hating most of it. Because
absolutely,
you're going to fall off the wagon that way. So just having that balance of pushing yourself past the comfort level, but then finding these alternative ways to still bring in some other things, to me has been a really good formula.
I love that because the key there is that you keep coming back. So maybe it's, and I have no idea what percentage is. It sounds like it's an effective program. I think you're doing a great job by doing the program and then also adding in an ab workout and then doing something cardio-ish on the weekends. I think that's a really good way to do that. But even if somebody were to say that's only 80% effective, okay, but you're doing it. You weren't doing it before. So that's amazing. Right. That's fabulous.
And again, the goals are different for people. My goal, would I like to wake up and look amazing and whatever and whatever. Yeah. But my life is not 100% focused on this either. I am focused in the way that I like how I feel. I like how I'm starting to look. But I also really love to go out to dinner. I like to throw parties. I like to enjoy that. I have gone to a more vodka, soda water, and grapefruit diet on that. Yeah. Every once in a while. And I'm that 26 salty beer from Mexico. Okay. So, I mean, to me, I know my goal is not to be so cut and so perfect. I like the balance I'm on because I don't do it every day, but it allows me to have those fun one-offs, those fun weekends, and really to not have any guilt. It still keeps me, I'm still able to stay on my program and just that balanced life and a little bit of debauchery and a little bit of opposite.
It sounds perfect to me. I mean, I think that's great. Having fun.
Excess in moderation.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
You can't be hardcore all the time. As you said, this is not your sole focus in life. You have all these other things going on.
Right.
So I think it's great. I think you are spot on with how you're approaching it. I think a lot of people would like to find that balance that you have struck. So I think a lot of people aspire to that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
So
and it wasn't working for me before the tonal because, I wasn't doing anything to offset the fun stuff.
So when it comes to the tonal, how's your wife utilizing it? Is she digging it too?
She's a freaking beast. Yeah. That thing in here. So we got that installed, and we did just the program that it comes with, matches up, whatever, and does a couple of things. So the next morning, she woke up before work and is going to do this machine. So all of a sudden, I was still sleeping, and all of a sudden I hear, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure the F-bomb threw out of her mouth too. So I was like, wow, what is happening in there? And I'm scared to death now because I'm supposed to follow her. So she comes out and she's sweating, and I'm like, oh my God, okay. I do mine, and sure enough, and so I came back in. I said, it's that overhead press. She's like, that was mine. I'm like, oh my God, that one.
That is my nemesis. It is so hard to do that.
I know. The part one, I'm like, and you wouldn't think. All the ones that I thought, I'm like, no problem. The simple ones, I'm like, what the hell? Okay, all right. But anyway, yeah, Mars, she's into Jackson program. She's in advanced. I'm all like, I'm going to stick here in this intermediate, strength mode. I feel like I need one more under my belt. But she just went running, but she's got that fighting spirit in her. So
is she still working out every day?
Every day. She's hit it. She's probably 6 to 7 days a week. And she's one of those, she'll do the full program, and maybe she'll throw in a yoga or something. But she's really set on, she wants to feel good. She wants to look good. I think she always did. So, whatever. But in her perspective, just there's always a little more the challenge. I think she's motivated by that. So if she can do this, then she can do that, and so she's got that fierce drive. I've got a good drive. I'm more like, I'm a driving business. She's like, I'm driving everything. And I'm like, oh, man, I aspire to be I have ultimate respect for her. So it's good.
Sounds like a power couple right there.
It can be. Kids are a little scared of us sometimes.
That's good. You want to keep them in their place.
Yes, definitely keep that.
It's important.
Speaking of, we came up with something pretty awesome that some parents might be a little interested in. So with COVID, obviously the kids, they haven't been able to do much, kids and teens and everything. So you've got video games. And forever we try to control the amount of time in front of the television, how many game time, all of this.
That ship sailed.
It's always been a losing battle. And every year you come up with some brand new way of doing it or trying it, and it's always a flop. But the fact when we found out, well, first of all, so they were out since March instead of June, because normally it's a summer vacation issue for the most part. So we can handle that for 6 weeks. But then we found out in California, the kids aren't going back to school. And then we're like, oh boy, we need to figure this out quick. So we talked about, again, monitoring the TV and this and that, and then it just never works. And we started thinking, we had just gotten these Apple Watches, and they've got those activity rings. So we thought, what about instead of monitoring the video games and the TV time, which we don't totally care about, what we care about is his activity level. So instead of monitoring how long you're in front of the television, let's start monitoring that activity level. So
you flipped the script.
We flipped it. Yep. And so we got one of the lower ones, not one of the new ones, for one of our kids. He's 15. And instead of doing that, we said first it was supposed to be the red ring, somewhere between 350 and 400 calories a day of that red ring. And so I'm sitting on the first days getting it, and he's killing me. The kid did 15 minutes of total. I did 35. I walked all over. I did all this stuff, and he's blowing me out of the water. And he sat on the couch all day. I'm like, what the heck's going on? So I sit there on the couch with him and watch it. Every time he hits the controller, he's getting these walking points. So this kid duped the system, but he didn't dupe me. So now instead of the red ring, we use the green ring. So it's 45 minutes every day in the green ring that mostly is, you can do a longer tonal. I said, don't chintz out of that warm up or that cool down. That's going to give you some more points. So he does that. And then it's not usually enough to get the 45, which was designed so that he does one more thing, walk the dogs, anything, vacuum. That hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I was like, that sounds apocryphal.
Yeah, we've got a couple dog walking, but we have not quite gotten the bathrooms done or the vacuuming. But I push it. So, but that's a really cool thing too, and that's to the tonal, as far as that's where he primarily can come in here, and he enjoys it once he gets started. He does enjoy it. So it's a really great way for even the teenagers to use the tonal and connect it to something, and one up it for parenting to use it as a device. And I would not have done that without tonal. What would I have had him do? It's 103 degrees again, back to that.
Right.
What do I really, I just did not know what to do. And so tonal really gave us an ability to keep some of these kids at least getting their muscles going and doing something. So that's a real
smart.
blessing for
Yeah,
us too.
that's totally.
Good parenting job. I like that.
Thank you. I was a little proud of that one. I'm not going to lie.
You should be. I'm trying to figure out, can I convince the kids they got to do a tonal a certain amount of times a week?
Good luck.
Yeah, and then you just don't want to hound them and harass them and all of that. But yeah, it worked, and he gets the phone out of it. So it's he was excited, or not the phone, but the watch. So I'm like, it's a little investment, but now I can stalk your progress every day. Yay me.
That's smart. Well, so I saw that you posted in the official Tonal community about you and your wife going on a hike, and you mentioned that Tonal kind of made that ability possible. So tell us about that.
What I think with the Tonal is it gave us the confidence and the desire to want to challenge ourselves even more. So every blue moon, we're privileged. We live in an area, we're really close to Lake Tahoe, we're close to the coast. So there's a lot of places that we can go and do these things. And the sad part was we really weren't taking advantage of them. We'd go there, but we not, there's something different about biking and hiking and taking that in, opposed to driving by, staying at a hotel and things like that.
That sounds fine
we
to
love
me.
that too. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, we're the balanced couple.
I don't see a problem here.
Right. So but every time we would do something, we'd be so sore. We took a hike with the kids. It was an 8-miler, but it was super flat. It was pretty hot that day, so we got a little exhausted. But the bottom line is I was sore for a week. And I was, and my glutes and my hammies and everything. I was burning. I'm like, I'm never going to recover from this hike. But I remember that. So bring in Tonal, and we took that one. I think the pictures that you're remembering, it was a 10-mile up the coast, and nothing. I could make it with no problem. I had no soreness anywhere. And I owe some of that a lot to the recoveries, the cool downs and the warm ups and the flexibility and on top of the strength, which I definitely wasn't doing before. So it allows us to not be in so much pain that you can get right back up and want to do it again. And that's kind of what we did. We did that hike. I did another one just a couple of days ago with some friends. We're going on one tomorrow with our 2 youngest kids, are 15 and 17. And then after that, we actually have we're doing our first backpacking trip together, the 4 of us, me, my wife, and our 2 youngest kids, for 2 nights and 3 days in Desolation Wilderness. So
wow,
we're going to do the survival and really 100% the Tonal. In fact, one of them just started the Take a Hike program on Tonal today. The other one's finishing up one. He's got 3 days to go, and I think he's going to flip to that one. So just to do what they can. And we're motivating that, but they're doing it and happy. It's pretty cool.
That's incredible.
That's cool that they're willing.
Totally.
They're willing to do that and not be grumps about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that they know. I'm telling you this for your best interest. Do what you want. I'm forcing them in anything. So it's going to be what it is. So we're going on that hike tomorrow. We're bringing the backpacks, and it's a shorter hike in a cooler climate than we're going to be going to. So test the waters, which gives us
Sure.
enough time to see where our weaknesses are and what we need to do or anything. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But certainly this would have never happened without the tonal.
Yeah,
Not even close.
set yourself up to win. You don't want to go
it's-
right into the deep end of that pool.
It's a
Right.
different story when you've got that that pack on your back. Like
Yeah.
that can really change
Everything.
how exhausted you get.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, it was changed.
So do you have a preferred tonal instructor?
I prefer Nicolette. I find her, I like the strength. I'm more into the strength building aspect of it, but she kind of reminds me of you're not getting in my way. A strong woman, probably been called the B word a time or two, but really she wasn't really, she just is a strong woman. So
Yeah, she had boundaries.
Yeah, exactly. And I like that in her. I find her empowering and motivating in the sense that I'm just driven by that. So the strength building, I'm more into the strength, and I feel like her personality matches mine a little bit more as far as we can do this and do it. So yeah, definitely Nicolette for me.
Isn't that amazing how like every different person can have like a different like connection with the different instructors? You know,
Yeah.
they're all great instructors, but they all have like different things they bring to the table.
Right.
And so they push you in different ways. And there's some that you're going to have that connection with more than others. And I just find that fascinating to see how people
interesting.
connect.
And especially with the four of us in the house using it, our kids are, they both love Coach Paul. And so, and Mara is, I think she's a toss up. She's really digging Jackson right now.
Yeah.
But she also enjoys Natalie very much too. So I would probably Natalie for her if I had to pick one. But I mean, all different and for all different reasons. And I'm like, how can it not be Nicolette? And they're like, this. And I'm like, oh, all right. So, but it's just like you said, it's fascinating the difference. We're all doing the same programs and same everything at the end of the day. But
Right.
that coach, it's interesting who you connect with.
It is. Yeah. You all end up doing goblet squats, but
Right,
you get there in a different way.
Yeah, right. Oh, yes.
So do you have any advice for people new to tonal?
My advice for anyone looking to buy tonal is do not wait another second. And the people that just have it, I would say we're privileged to have this machine. And not just the machine, but the coaching and people, or if you have the injury, they'll literally will design a program for you for whatever your issues are. I mean, that is amazing. And so the fact that we are able to, I find it a privilege to be able to have this machine. Take advantage of it, because there's so many people that can't. And when you wake up and you don't want to do it and whatever, get in there, do a 10-minute, whatever, you're doing something, you're working some muscles because you can. And taking that for granted, you shouldn't, I think. So when you're feeling like you just don't feel like it today, one day here and there, but when you don't get yourself so far off, remember the privilege you have to be able to have this machine and use it. Do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, by virtue of definition, it's even though it has great value, and I think in the long run it's cheaper than the gym if you really do the math, it's still not inexpensive, and it is a luxury that some people don't have, and so I think that's really
And
smart.
just the ability to move, which I think is also what you were getting at, Tess, is that, it's like not everybody can have the ability to have workouts and to do workouts. And one of my favorite little wall clings that I have is, you don't have to, you get to,
Yes.
and I agree with that very much.
Yes, that's become a thing here. I don't know if Jackson said it or some version of it, but I've been going around. And at the end of the day, it's hard work and it's really freaking hot here. But it's like, hey, we don't have to live. We get to live. So let's go. Let's do it. Let's test the limits here. So yeah, I do. It's a whole positive thing. Being part of the Facebook community, and don't forget that. Like, that to me is huge. So like with all this time, I'm one of those people that, oh gosh, I just can't stay away from this political thing. I tried. It was my New Year's resolution in 2020 to not be a part of anything, but It was easy.
Oh, that was the wrong year for that.
It was easy in January, okay? But then, man, everything came, and I was like, oh, I can't. So I involved myself again and just watching. And it was a little different this time around. I felt that even with differing opinions, I just felt like this was so much darker than it had ever been before. Like, people have always disagreed, but now it's to this point where you're closing doors on people, friends that have been best friends for families that, and literally closing the door on people. And I'm watching this happen, and it's breaking my heart. So I decided, instead of taking away my social media, because I do enjoy that and far away from family, and I like to see what other people are doing, it brings me happiness in the good things. So instead of deleting, I just kind of unblocked everything that was super political and everything. So it allowed me to see all the other people doing all these really cool things, taking these hikes, going in the kayaks, taking all these adventures and everything, and being able to see more of that has been really inspiring to me. And then I've become friends with some people in the tonal community, and that has been so empowering. So with every negative thing that does seem to bleed through here and there, I'm just bombarded with all this positive stuff, and it's making such a difference. Instead of the majority being negative, which it was, and these positives you couldn't even enjoy, it's just exactly opposite now. So, and it's just been inspiring, and I owe that a ton to the community and the coaches to just get out there. I like to see your accomplishments. I like to see the big guys with their hit the million mark, and I like to see the ones that are just out there and they've had injuries, and you just crossed the 300 strength score, which is nothing, as they always say, but it is something to you. And
absolutely.
And because of that, I'm super proud of you, and I'm super happy that you're happy, and that makes me happy to be part of this. And I just feel like we just are this community that is just uplifting. And I like it because if you take it out of this community on, say, a Facebook platform, you're judged. People think that you're bragging. People think that, I don't know, you always get this other side that is a negative. And so to have a community that's protected only from people in the community trying to do the same thing, finding inspiration, providing inspiration, I just think it's huge. And there's many times I don't want to get on that tonal, and then I'll flip through Facebook or whatever, and I'll see this thing happen to me just yesterday. I was like, oh gosh, darn it. All right. But having that positivity, I can't stress that enough. And so much of it is the community.
That's fabulous.
It is, absolutely.
It's really nice.
And unfollow is an amazing tool.
For real.
It really is.
I'm going to start a Facebook fan page just for the unfollow feature.
Maybe they should come up with a snooze till the election's over.
They do have like snooze for 30 days.
I know, it's not long enough. I'm saying...
Yeah, I was going to wait to see this all go through. I'm like, oh God, an election's coming. Forget it.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to want to snooze them longer than the election, because no matter what happens, they're either going to complain or spike the football.
Yeah,
so.
Either way, it's going to get ugly for a while. That's true.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'm just thinking in my tonal community for a while.
So on that note, how can people find you on social media if they would like to reach out? What's the best way?
I am on Facebook, and I have my IM, so you can find me there.
Okay.
And if you
I'll
send her
probably
something,
stalk your account first.
Yeah. And if you send her something political, she will unfollow you. So don't even start. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me. It was wonderful to talk to you guys. I'm very privileged to be asked. Thank you.
Well, thank you. It was a lot of fun, and tell your whole family to have fun on that hike. We're excited for you.
Oh, yeah, definitely. They just got their big old 60-pound backpack or 60-liter backpacks today, so they're excited. They don't know what it's going to feel like on the hike, but I can't wait to see that.
All right. Well, have a great weekend, Tess.
All right. Appreciate it. Bye, guys.
Bye.
See you later. Well, I guess that brings this one to a close. What, pray tell, do you have in store for people next week?
We are going to be talking to Joyna Liao. She has had an amazing success story with tonal, and she just blew me away. So I can't wait to share it with everybody.
And she blew me away with her patience.
Boy, that is no joke. We had some serious technical difficulties, and that woman has the patience of a saint.
Yes. So you will hear the very patient Joyna on the next episode. Until then, where can they find you?
People can find me at facebook.com/Crystal D. O'Keefe. They can find me on Instagram or Twitter at ClipOutCrystal.
And you can find me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online at facebook.com/Superset Podcast. While you're there, like the page and join the group so you can stay up to date on things throughout the week. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep lifting.
Smart training, there you are. Customize, make it right. AI, form and vibe. Superset will show you what it's all about. It's a tonal workout.
The Superset is made possible in part by support from Tonal.